So how excited are you about tonight? This is your, how many years now?
This is our second time doing the post-gala party, but our 5th year sponsoring Cinefest.
Well, considering that you're pretty much across the street from all of the action.
We do expect a full house.
No, I'm really excited for it. It's one of those places that, so because you close early, everyone wants to come here and try just about everything.
Yes.
So how many appetizers are you serving tonight?
6 different things.
6 different things that are probably all favorites from your current menu?
Yes, all of our best sellers on our current menu and one recent addition to our menu.
And that's the cauliflower bites,
cauliflower
right?
bites,
Which
yes.
is great for the vegetarians. I'm sure they'll be really excited about that.
Yes.
Any particular cocktails or wines you can tell us about your serving this evening?
We're doing Inniskillin White and Red and Bellinis, which is our signature drink.
Oh, you're going to do the frozen Bellinis?
We are doing frozen Bellinis.
Wow, that's everyone's favorite.
Yes, they're really, really good. And then Muskoka Cream Ale is craft brewer for our beer.
Oh, that's nice. Keep it in Ontario.
Exactly.
Wonderful. Here I'm talking about Cinefest. It's fine. So we can start the episode this way, but we were just sitting there chatting about Cinefest. So the funny thing is that she actually worked for Cinefest, yes. Stacy, before, way before I even knew you. And the funny thing is that I think you worked there before I started catering there.
I believe so.
And then when I started catering there, you weren't there.
No.
And now I'm back and you're not there.
No, I know, right?
It's really strange. Like, we need to start doing things at the same time.
I think so.
So welcome to Flying for Flavor. This is episode 2, season 2.
Welcome, welcome.
And after the big fun party that we had, our first live show like that at Finn McCool's, that was a lot of fun.
That was.
And that's usually traditionally how I kick off Cinefest week.
Yay!
Not with a big party, we'll invite people and buy tickets and stuff like that, but it's traditionally just based on when the weekend falls. So Cinefest, my birthday always kind of usually started on the weekend of Cinefest.
Perfect.
So every year I was swamped and I was busy, and it was usually I'm like cheering myself and taking a glass of wine behind the trailer at Silver City. That's usually kind of, it's very sad, but that was kind of how my Cinefest things used to go because I was too busy. I didn't have time to do family dinners and all that kind of stuff. So essentially I partied with Cinefest guests.
There we go.
So it's like my annual thing. So I haven't been back in a while, and I wanted to, it's the 30th anniversary of Cinefest. Yes. So yay, cheers to Cinefest.
Yeah, cheers Cinefest.
They finally brought me back, convinced me, almost kicking and screaming, to come back. And I wanted to do a proper toast to using Jackson and Triggs. This is their classic sparkling that you can find just about every single LCBO. It's super dry, classic method. Pretty much goes with everything, easily celebratory, and I'm saying it's under $20 a bottle, which is perfect.
Yum.
So I'll have the link to it in the show notes for you if you want to grab it. But this is the sparkling wine that they're actually serving at a lot of the special events, behind the scenes, pre-party galas, all that kind of stuff. And I've noticed that people have been asking me, excuse me, I'm just serving food stuff, and they're coming up with the glass going, what is this? Like, oh my God, it's so good. And I told them, I said, it's Jackson Triggs. No way. So they were very stunned, and I think there's actually people who are going out to go and look for this sparkling now just from having it served at Cinefest. So that's when you know sponsorship works.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they knew what the good stuff was.
Wonderful.
It's all good, eh?
Oh, it is so yummy.
Ooh.
Very refreshing.
And then, of course, we're having snacks. It wouldn't be a show without having snacks. So I just have, of course, I had some pretzel crackers and some of those artisan crisps again. Because we were changing up the cheeses, or having different cheeses to go with this, I chose the hazelnut and ginger ones from PC. And then that's to go with, you can't see it here if you're watching the video, but I did a mango and ginger white Stilton.
Yum.
Which I thought would be creamy, a little bit of fruit would be good to cut through
Very
this.
good.
Things that are creamy are really good with sparkling, right? Because the sparkling and the bubbles just kind of cut through that creaminess. Okay. And then speaking of creamy, this is Stacey's favorite. That she already cut into.
Favorite. Kind of might have cut into all of them.
So this is the PC Blue Brie. So essentially it is a classic, it looks like a classic brie, but it does have some of the blue veining in it. So if you are not usually a huge fan of blue cheese and you're trying to work your way into it, this is kind of like a good compromise. Absolutely. So you still get that long finish of the blue, but you still get the mouthfeel and the creaminess of the brie, so it's not overwhelming. So that's a really great one. And then the other one that's available through PC, which is another French style cheese called Michabeau. And every once in a while it's on sale, so when I see it's on sale I pick it up right away, because again It's light, it's an easy cheese, and something that's nice to have that. It's almost like a palate cleanser between these two stronger ones, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
There's a method to putting out cheese, you know.
Same with sparkling though too, right? Like a palate cleanser.
It is.
It's like,
the bubbles. As long as it's dry, I find that
Mm-hmm.
anything that's too sweet though won't. But that's a lot of times where you'll find things that have bubbles they're not just good before a dinner to do a palate cleanser, but I also find sparkling's really great for, in between courses before you have an entree, you'll have like a granita course or a sorbet course. A lot of times, a fun twist for wedding things that I used to do is I actually take the sparkling wine of the granita in there, and I would put a splash of sparkling wine on top of it. So
wonderful.
So it's almost like a little sparkling slushy.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a little classy, not for the kids, of course, but still a little festive for the wedding. And especially when you do it tableside, when everyone's getting served it, and then you open the bottle, and everybody goes ooh, and it's all about the show at weddings, right?
Absolutely.
So I do have notes today because I want to make sure I'm talking about all the stuff. This is a great episode. If you're listening to this on the day this episode was released, it is Saturday, September 22nd, and Cinefest is not over yet. So we're smack dab in the middle when we're taping this. I've taped a few interviews from some of the local restaurants that were doing some catering, just to kind of get their input on what they're doing this year with Cinefest. Then they will kind of be interjected in between. I'm hoping to kind of secure a couple of other episodes or other interviews that you'll sort of sneak in between this as well. But I want to get some of the information out there, so if you wanted to take part, and if you're in Sudbury either this weekend, so Saturday and Sunday are still left, or if you really interested in learning more about it because you're thinking you're from outside of Sudbury and you really want to come in and enjoy the festivities for a week. Cinefest knows what it's doing. It's now 30 years young.
Absolutely.
So I'm really excited about it. So, this is a food and drink show though, so we have to talk about the food and drink at Cinefest. So that's one of the priorities for me. So I made some notes on here for the pricing, because if you've gone to TIFF or any of the other film festivals, they might do things a little bit differently. I know friends of mine who go to TIFF talk about how there's almost like a lottery system in getting tickets there, where you buy so many tickets, or you say you want so many, and you get issued so many, and there's maximum quantities of this and that and whatever. So if you're trying to get, arrange for a lot of movies, it's not as easy just to go, I want tickets to this movie.
Oh, wow.
At this particular time on this date. It doesn't work that way.
I didn't know that.
Think of the population of Toronto.
It would be hard to
And then with all of the Hollywood people coming in and their special guests and sponsors, so it's a little bit different. In Sudbury, we do have our own little celebrities and stuff that come in, but it's not the big names usually. Sometimes we surprise us with directors and producers and stuff.
Absolutely.
But one of the things and the reason that it's nicknamed the People's Festival, it is really about the people who go see the movies, and that's the one thing that really draws filmmakers to come and release their movies with us.
Right.
And it's because the people who come to Cinefest are true movie lovers. But people don't realize they also happen to be big food and drink fans.
Yes, they are.
They are. And it was funny, we were talking earlier about, I didn't realize, she said, are they still like really big eaters? Yes, they love to eat. They still do. So besides like popcorn and stuff like that, you can get the movies. There's other things that are happening outside of Cinefest. So if you wanted to spend extra and go to a gala movie, which is at 7 p.m. every day during the week, that's usually just sort of a hand-picked movie they think is going to be a crowd favorite. Mm-hmm. They usually have a sponsor for that particular movie, and whoever the sponsor is also sponsors, and they call it an après-film reception. It's at various locations throughout the city. Sometimes it's at a place like our School of Architecture. Sometimes it is at another hall. We had one at Laking Toyota, which is a local car dealership. They actually had set us up right in their showroom, which was handy. Mm-hmm. And then other times there's a lot more restaurants that are involved, and I'll talk about that later. So now we're getting more restaurants doing the actual catering, and they're becoming the venues for these receptions. Right. Kind of gets people maybe into restaurants that they haven't been to before, which is kind of cool.
It's true.
So those gala things, so when you buy your ticket for the movie, you keep your stub, and that gives you access to get into these receptions. So that's one way you can get, and there's always free hors d'oeuvres at these events afterwards. And then occasionally there's either open bar or cash bar. It used to be all open bar, and then now that restaurants are getting on board, the amount of food that they're basically donating to Cinefest and their goers to be able to recoup some of their costs, they kind of made an agreement that we're going to have a minimal bar, but we get to keep the bar and that kind of thing. So there's some options. And even with cash bar, the places that had cash bar were still packed.
Right.
right? People still want to come for the free food anyways.
Right.
Right?
And the community, right? And the involvement of being there. And being
Oh yeah,
seen.
there's like
It's
hundreds of people showing up and they
hundreds.
shut down the restaurant for the night, so it's a lot of fun.
So much fun.
So that's just the gala. So that's one way to get some food at Cinefest, besides if you want to get beyond the popcorn thing. Not knocking popcorn, because like that's popcorn is a dinner for me at some points.
Yeah.
But then the other thing is
Favorite
called popcorn and not wine. So the other thing is called a passport. So a festival passport. They've had this ever since they started it. It was a few years into it, I think, when they started it. But essentially, when you buy this passport, and right now the passports are going for $255 for the week. That allows you to get into all of the regular movies throughout the day, every day during festival, as well as those gala things that have the free food after. So essentially, you wear this thing around your neck, and you can just go. You gets you into whatever movie, whenever, which is kind of cool. So if you're a really big movie buff, a lot of people I've been talking to, some of my passport holders, they're averaging 4 to 5 movies a day.
Wow, that's a lot of.
That's a lot of movies.
Screen time.
It is. I usually talk to them at the end of the week, and they're all kind of like bragging about, I did 28 and I did 30, and I was thinking like, oh my god, I can barely have time to sit down and do one, let alone 4. That's crazy. So that passport gets you all the gala film presentations, as I mentioned, into those receptions after the gala one, whether they're open bar or cash bar. Again, unlimited access to all the regular movies that are playing throughout the thing. There's a new section called Cinema 9 Primetime Screenings. I'm not too familiar, that's brand new this year, that I think it is, but there's details on the website for that. They're individually ticket events or whatever. They're kind of a small thing. It is just a quick release of something. And then they have these Cinema Summit activities, which are almost like seminar type things where they'll have like roundtable discussions and panel interviews and things like that with directors and things. So you actually get access to those too. So if you're a really big film buff and you really want to take the week, there's a lot of people who just take the week off work.
Well, and that's they circle their vacation around the time that Cinefest is, and they've been doing that for years and years. It's incredible.
And there's a lot of people when they first retire, they're so excited that they're going to go and do the entire week of Cinefest.
Right.
So we get a lot of retirees or newly retireds that are actually showing up for that, which is cool. And then if you want to have a little bit more, you can pay a little bit extra, so it works up to $380, and that allows you the same access as the passport, but you also get access to the hospitality trailer. So the hospitality trailer is set up just outside the main theater in Sudbury, and you have to have the Passport Plus to be able to get in there. They always have an open bar, wine, beer, usually just red wine, white wine, beer, that kind of stuff that's in that trailer. And then they always have things like muffins, baked goods, fresh fruit. They have stuff throughout the day, little snacks. And now they're kind of introducing these little surprise things where they'll have local restaurants or caterers sort of show up unexpectedly and set up like a little something extra for them for the day. So as an example, I just did one the other day. And it was kind of funny because they told me to only prepare for maximum 30 people. So I thought, okay. And I said, I'm trying to promote my upcoming Spanish wine class, so I'm going to do Spanish tapas, the classic pinchos, like in our own thing. And I used Jackson & Triggs Cabernet Sauvignon, and I made a sangria.
Oh.
So I had a sangria in a jug, so they had little samples of sangria, so the classic Spanish version, not the one with 18 ingredients.
Yes.
And then I had all the little tapas or whatever. I set up, by the time I was set up, I was ready 5 minutes early. I got a couple of pictures in, and within 20 minutes, all gone.
Demolished.
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 And it turns out we were closer to 60 people that showed up that day. I think word spread that I was putting out a little bit of a spread, and because I used to cater for Cinefest for so many years, I'm thinking that somebody let it blab that I was going to be there at 3.
Probably, yes.
And yeah, anyways, it's just like a big free for all, it was fun though. So I actually posted a little live video from there, and there's some regulars who are still going there, go to the trailer. Like Passport Plus holders that were doing that back in the day when I was catering.
Amazing.
But they're still there and they recognize me, and I thought that was kind of fun. So it was like coming back in the family. It's very sad, very cute. So that was kind of cool having that trailer thing. So there's a couple of other things, and then I'm going to let Stacy, or did you remember, has any of that changed from back in the day when you were there?
We never had a trailer.
Did you have a place that maybe Passport people could go?
I think at that time, I can't recall if we did or not, but I don't think we did. We just had the galas. And I mean, the price point was changed dramatically, of course, but I mean...
It was always well worth the money.
Oh, well, even then. But I mean, you weren't getting that, the trailer or that kind of stuff with it. But, I think it was, it's similar, very similar.
Okay, so there was always been a way to get... Because I remember when I first heard about the Passport and the pricing on that, I thought, wow, if I could take a week off work. I think it'd be valuable.
That'd be
So when you
great.
think about it, so each gala price point is at $20.50. So it's more than going to a movie. But of course, you have to remember you're going to that reception thing after with the food.
Absolutely.
And you are getting movies that are not released out in general in theaters yet. A lot of these are the big releases that are coming from TIFF. Like, right, they're talking to friends who were at TIFF last week, and they're watching some of the same movies that we're getting here in Sudbury. So it was kind of cool to see like a TIFF style movie for $20, and then get to go and have hors d'oeuvres and stuff afterwards. And then some of them are even have open bar. I mean, it's a really good deal. So for at $2.55, you can see 10 galas, right?
Absolutely.
That's the cost of it. But you also can go and see any other movie throughout the week.
Right.
So your cost is kind of covered if you're
It's
planning.
totally. And
Yeah.
if you go to the gala, you're going to get a couple of drinks possibly, and then some snacks if you're quick.
A couple of drinks.
Couple of drinks, and you run to the table if you're that quickest person who gets there first.
So how many years has the keg been doing this now?
Well, it's been 14 years. There was 1 year we had to back out because of our renovation, but otherwise we've done it every year since 2005.
And if you have to say there's some kind of change, or if you've seen any changes over the years, I mean 14 years is a long time, so I'm assuming not just your menus changed, but the clientele's changed.
Well, our menu's changed a little bit, but not that much. We're still just great steak and seafood. However, I find our guests has evolved. And now, over the years, we've gotten a lot of our newer or younger guests. They've become our regulars, and it used to be that older crowd. So it's kind of nice that we're getting the newer generation.
And are they coming to the Cinefest
Oh
events
yes,
too? Yeah,
I
you're
see it
noticing
now. Yep, absolutely.
I said once a fan of the keg, always a fan of the keg, right?
That's what I like to
So
hear.
what do you think was the top menu item tonight that was the biggest
The
driver?
prime rib sliders, they were just going. We couldn't keep up with them.
I had that. That's one. Not only did I have one tonight, I think when I was just here last week, I also had the same things. So obviously, it's a big hit.
Tried and true.
Did you have anything that's off menu tonight? To kind of surprise people?
We always like to stick to what's on our menu, so if our guest wants to come back and have something that they had here tonight, they can.
That makes sense because nothing's worse than if they came back and said, "I want that shrimp thing you made," and well.
Oh, actually, we did have one thing that
Oh,
wasn't on our
no.
menu. Oh, I just remembered. Yes, we had our prime rib spring rolls.
Oh, I didn't get one of those. That's
Yes.
what it was that I walked over. I heard great things about
Yeah,
that too.
those were a hot item. So
Okay, so this year
we'll
you-
make some for you one day.
Oh, I appreciate that. So I'm thinking that you said it was a little busier this year than previous years.
Yeah.
So
we've
do
had
you-
some over the years, some busier than others, but this is the busiest in the last few years for sure.
Yeah. So do you think that there's any changes that you can foresee for future events or future sponsorships that you would say now that you know how busy it's going to be? Changing the menu, changing the service style, anything? No.
Well, we always do an after-action plan afterwards just to see what we could have done better. And last year we determined that it wasn't as busy, so it's a good thing that we still planned for a busy night because you never know, right? And we did get hit tonight, and it was just wonderful. So we're just always going to make sure that we're prepared, have lots of food, and do our best to keep up with everybody.
Well, we never put it past you. You guys always do a great job.
Does the sprint in and then dives for the table?
We'll have
and
to share
piles
all the horror
plate.
stories.
Yeah.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Piles the plate.
You gotta learn. I'm talking about
Run.
the first time I catered one of those galas, which is funny. So the passport holders, I want to call them NIPROs. So if you're gonna do this like a serious passport Cinefest person, they plan out all of their food and drink experiences. So they tend to they know when there's going to be free food available. They know what movies they're planning to see. They have it all scheduled out. They will pack things in their cars so that they're having sandwiches, snacks. One lady that we know, like she always has like a small cooler that she leaves in her car.
Okay.
So she's always got because she said I can't eat like movie theater food all day, every day, and they don't always. And she didn't pay extra for the Passport Plus thing because she goes, well, I'm not going to be drinking that much during the day.
Right.
So for her, it was just better. Like she likes to go to the evening things, but she wants to be able to have access to healthier options. Mm-hmm. So she's always got stuff ready to go, and
Right.
she's there again. Some of these people do 3-4 movies a day.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so they actually have it planned because Silver City is close by. Milestones is within walking distance. Montana's is there. Keg's across the street. Kelsey's is nearby. There's all these little restaurants that are buyed up, to mention A&W and Harvey's if you needed to. So there's other options outside of that you needed to go and grab stuff. So they kind of plan out, I'm going to eat here, I'm going to do this. And you can see a lot of them kind of get to know each other. And you'll see like 3 ladies walking together to go someplace.
I've seen a lot of increase in foot traffic this week, especially on the Kingsway, because they're coming down from the theater and they're walking across either to the restaurant across the street, or, I mean, there's the Cag Twigs.
I saw some ladies walking out with bags from Dollarama.
Right? Like, it's just everywhere.
Right? Just to get things like Twizzlers or bottled water or whatever, right? And I have to admit this is one of those things that someone's going to scold me for. I've seen people sneaking in food and stuff. I don't care if there's a big sign on the screen before the movie starts saying, no outside food and drinks allowed. It's the amount of people that I see pulling stuff out of their bags like in the theater is wild. So I guess they've always done that.
Yes.
Yeah, it just makes me laugh, because I'm always thinking that at some point they're not even shy about it, which is amazing. And there was one lady, I remember my mom wanted to bring in a bottle of water from home one day, as opposed to buying the Dasani or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, the $10, right?
Yeah. And I said, Mom, you can't do that or whatever. And here I'm watching this lady, like these ladies are bringing in their refillable water bottles. Mm-hmm. And they bring them in, and they actually cut in front of me in the line at the concession to get the guys to fill their water for them in behind the thing. Like, they're not even shy about it that I'm not buying your water and I'm bringing my own water bottle, right? So, but it's just, they actually plan all that kind of stuff out.
That's very cool.
And sometimes if they want tea or something, like one of them told me that she keeps a tea bag in there, like an herbal tea bag.
Right.
And then she just keeps adding in even cold water. She said throughout the day, at least she's got some flavor or something, and she just basically recycles, that's her tea bag for the day.
Very cool.
Yeah, so there's all kinds of little ways of getting around it. And then they kind of plan out their eating, that if they know they're going to the gala that night for hors d'oeuvres, they kind of have a little snack before the gala movie at 7, and this way they know that they're going to be eating after. But the funny thing is, they plan for it, and that's one of the reasons that they are so ravenous by the time they arrive at that reception.
They've only had an apple and water.
When I say ravenous, they're ravenous. To the point, like, they'll take 3 skewers at a time. I've seen them, Norm calls it the reach around. I told you they call something else, right? Most of the time it's volunteers that are doing the serving, and there's one poor man, he's got a tray. And he's, like, someone put stuff on a tray for him, and he's bringing it out, and they're waiting where the food comes out. So if they notice after a while that all the food's coming out of one doorway, they're all hovered by that doorway so they can get out it first. And this one man, he was a pretty big guy, I would say mid to late 60s, and he's holding onto this tray, and women are reaching like almost around like his sides just to get at the tray. He's like, he didn't even see the arms coming. It was like this octopus thing. It was that
wild. Hasn't changed.
And I was used to seeing it because I catered for these events for so many years.
Right.
So I used to bring in some of my own staff for serving as well, so that they were prepared and they can kind of coach the volunteers so that nobody was kind of freaked out about it. Like, here's what to expect. Keep your trays high if you need to go across the room. And there was all kinds of little tricks that we learned. But it was, it's funny, like, yeah, they're starving. And that's the whole thing, is that they've been waiting. They know they plan things out, that's what they're planning to eat. Right or wrong, as long as they still have access to the food, that's exactly what they're going to do. So it's one of those things, never go to a reception starving. And by the end,
I can only laugh.
When I was at the keg the other night, I'm giggling because I can tell when the keg starts running low on food because they were replenishing other hors d'oeuvres. And I think the same, they have that mushrooms Neptune that's on that thing?
Yes.
Always mushrooms Neptune kept going by. And it was different servers, and they kept stopping by the table, and they said, mushrooms Neptune? And then someone, would you like a mushrooms Neptune? Would you like mushrooms Neptune? And I said, fine, stop for a second, and went, do you guys run out already? And that's exactly what happened. It's something quick and easy that they can put in and throw in the oven really quick, because they didn't want to, and they had way more people than last year. And I was one of the last people to leave, and they still had food. Like, they were on it this year. I was really, it kind of blew them away. They weren't expecting the crowds like that, but
it's amazing, though.
The weather turned out really good too. So I think it's one of those things, when the weather's nice, everyone shows up for it, right?
Absolutely.
So anyone can buy a ticket to the gala film. You don't have to be a passport person. So if you wanted to go to the gala tonight, if it's Saturday, or the one on Sunday, you can do that as well. You can buy them online. I'll have the link in the show notes. Couple of other things. I was talking about the refillable bottles. So I said there's more restaurants catering this year. Back when I was catering, one of the reasons I was catering is that there was a lot of venues being used that didn't have food service involved, right? Mm-hmm. So again, it was the car dealership showrooms. It was a reception hall that didn't have its own caterer. Theater center. They did the theater center one usually every year. So there's a few venues that were my regular places because they would need an outside caterer, and that was kind of what I did.
Mm-hmm.
So I would do those events quite often. My very first one doing for Cinefest many, many years ago was at the Sudbury Theater Center, and I still have pictures of it.
Yes, that was one of the evenings.
I should show. I'm gonna look for the pictures and attach it to the show notes of this because I think it's kind of funny. Because I think my brother was in town. I think Alex helped us out.
Oh man.
Robin was actually Robin helped us out, and we walked across the street. And I'm trying to think. It wasn't SRO. What was there before SRO? Maybe Savannah's or something. Anyways, we walked across. We just went downtown to go and have a celebratory drink because it was our first Cinefest gala that we did by ourselves. And we ended up drinking some really bad sparkling wine, going back on the theme that night. And the funny thing is that it changed ownerships a few times, and they still had that same. It's called Café de Paris. It's horrid.
As you're saying,
it's like a Café de Paris.
Oh my gosh! As you're sharing this, I'm just remembering one of the events. It was the year that the Red Violin played. So this is years and years ago. We're talking. We had the event held. The gala evening was in one of the rooms, banquet rooms at what was the Ramada downtown in the city center.
Oh.
Because it was then Cinefest was actually
At
housed
downtown.
in the mall.
Yeah.
And we actually the staff moved into the hotel for the week, and we were on call the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But that one event, I don't know why I did this, but I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we had the colors balloons? So I ended up getting helium-filled balloons, and I actually filled them, hundreds of them, and they came from the top of the ceiling down.
Oh.
For that, it was fun, but.
Yeah, as I said, like, there was a lot of detail. I'm gonna have some of this cheese before you get at it.
I'm sorry, yeah. I'll just keep eating it.
No, it's okay. I can eat and talk at the same time. Sorry. Just because I'm sitting there staring at it and going, oh, it'd be so good with that bubbles. Yeah, so there's more restaurants now than there used to be. I like the idea of restaurants. I think from what I heard, there was the not passport holders, but the moviegoers really enjoy going to these restaurants, right? They are familiar with the menu, right? So they know what the food's going to be like. So that's usually a draw. Once in a blue moon, one of the restaurants will surprise. I noticed that a couple times. Milestones did a couple of things that were different off menu last year. But most of the time, they're just doing some of their biggest hits because they know they're going to be well received, right?
Right.
But they have the capacity. They're used to the large crowds. Then it's great involvement for the community for them to do this once a year, right? So that's always a lot of fun. And they're so close to the theater, which is another great aspect.
Absolutely.
So the restaurant's catering this year for the after film receptions was Montana's. That was their first time that I am aware of. Milestones, as I said, this is their 5th year doing it. Mr. Prime Rib doesn't usually even cater, but the last couple of years they've been doing the Laking Toyota one. Since I started catering,
nice.
yeah, so they've been doing that one, so they were there the other night. The Keg, of course, has been doing it for the last many years, I think. New this year will be Lot 88 on the Kingsway. That's their first time. They're actually doing the closing night. So I'm going to be going to that one. So if you happen to be there, make sure you say hi. Kelsey's is also coming up this week. Tap House is on Saturday night, and that's, of course, our beer drinking friends at the South End. So Tap House will be holding that one. I think this is their 2nd year doing it. And then Motley Kitchen is doing the catering. It's a local restaurant, but it's doing the catering at the architecture school.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So we're getting a good mix of a lot of different local restaurants. So it's a great opportunity for you to try some food from a place that maybe you haven't tried before. And then, as I mentioned, that hospitality trailer. The hospitality trailer has, we've been surprising the Passport Plus holders with little snacks and stuff throughout the week. And these are other restaurants that got involved. So Cedar Nest was actually today. She was said she was showcasing her upcoming noir dinner event.
Yes, does not look interesting.
Where everything's
I'm
black.
very excited about that.
Everything she's serving is black. So this has been like a little goal of hers to do this. I'm doing an event with her actually next week. It's a Tour of France that we're teaming up for. But this is a separate event she has coming up later in October. And I just thought how cool it is that, so she's getting to do samples. She's offering samples of it tonight as a surprise for them.
Very fun.
The Fromagerie teamed up with Adora Oils and Vinegars. They were yesterday, which was nice. They had little cheeses and oils and breads and stuff yesterday, which was fun. Chico Tacos was there earlier in the week. The interesting thing is that everyone was loving it, and I was debating about how many of them knew it was vegan.
Probably not many.
Probably not many. that were there. But they all had their little plates and they were sitting outside, and yeah, they seem to be enjoying it a lot. Twigs has brought stuff in, which was great. They were there one day. I know Pepe Panini is coming in later this week. I want to say today's Thursday, Friday. Salute Coffee, I know, is doing one as well. I forget which day she's doing it. She was there. The owner was messaging me. I wanted to go in and take pictures, and I've never met her face to face before, so that'd be fun. And then, of course, I did my Spanish one the other day. And aside from that, there's other fun things that you can do. So if you're really getting involved in the film festival, or you happen to know local businesses here in Sudbury, sponsors of the films also within their package have the opportunity to not only get 50 tickets to invite special guests to have reserved seating at the film that they're sponsoring, but they also have the opportunity to entertain those guests in the hospitality tent. So not the trailer where the passport people go. There's a big tent that's set up outside. And those ones are actually catered with an open bar and everything else. And so those 50 people, sometimes they squeeze it to 60. But basically an opportunity for the sponsors to actually chat with their guests before they get to the movie. Because really, once you sit in a movie, you're not really talking, right? And a lot of times they're good clients or anything else that they want to woo. So this is a great opportunity to do them. So that's where I come in. So that's where I did many years ago, back when I was really involved with Cinefest. Besides doing the galas, I did a lot of their sponsored gala events. So that's what I came back for this year. So as much as you're seeing the food and videos and stuff online, I'm sorry, but those weren't for the general public. So those are the pre-things, and so I kind of kept the same menu throughout the week to make it easier, just because I'm duplicating the same things, and it's different crowds every night, so it was fun.
Perfect.
But yeah, so I will be sharing one of the recipes that I just kind of, the lemongrass chicken summer rolls was a really big hit. That's the one I actually created it only to go in the little plastic cones that I bought.
Oh.
Did you see the picture of them?
I did.
So I bought these little plastic cones.
Yes.
And I bought these little pipettes that you can squeeze stuff in. And then I got a holder for the cones. And then I said I need to put something to put in them. So now that I had the cones, I didn't want to do something that was like a layered parfait type thing. I thought that's just messy. So I thought, what else could I put in there? And I said, I need something cone shaped. And then I was thinking about something Asian and summer roll type thing. And I had all this rice paper rounds at the house. So I thought, oh, that's perfect. Because I can pretty much do anything in there. And I got some great chicken in from Kipling Ridge Farms. So I roasted that. So there's videos actually showing, and I'll put the links to those videos in the show notes as well. But I have all these I think there's 3 or 4 videos on YouTube. By the time you're watching this, it should be the last one. That actually shows me doing the final rolls, just to show you how it's done. And then I'll include the recipe as well, because I think that'll be a fun one. Anyways, I get to play. I never usually had time to come up with menu. Like, I was usually catering for my regular clients and doing Cinefest the same week, right? And not to mention, there used to be an overlap at the beginning, or for a couple of years, with Jazz Festival, which I did, which overlapped one of the weekends.
Right.
So there were days where I was doing Cinefest, setting up for Jazz Festival, and the next day I was catering for a client in the evening, doing Jazz Festival before that, and then I had a team setting up for the next. Like, it was just...
Bam, bam.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So September was always really fun for me. Alcohol kept me going, that's for sure. So I was talking about Jackson Triggs, the official vintner of Cinefest this year, and you said they were many years ago as well.
Yes, they were the original ones.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
It's nice to see them back again.
Yes.
I know we had some other wineries previously. Back when I was catering, it was not Jackson Triggs that we got back then. But it's kind of nice to have. I like the idea that when people are enjoying the wines like that, they're asking about it, and then they're going out to buy it, which is part of the whole sponsorship thing, right? And then besides that, so Steam Whistle is the official brewery. They are the beer sponsor this year. I think they have been for the last several years. And then new this year, Sudbury's own Crosscut Distillery.
Way to go.
Yes, if you remember we did an entire episode with Crosscut talking about the distilling process, and they specialize right now in gin and vodka, and they do have some whiskey aging, barrel aging right now, so they will be launching their whiskey probably another 2 years, I think, at least, before it's ready to go. 2.5, I think I was pushing Sarah the other day. So how long do you think? She's like, 2.5. But they want to make sure it's perfect before they release it. But they're actually doing samples of Caesars, I think, surprising people here and there with Caesars using their vodka. I think they were doing did a martini bar. I think they're doing it for a private event on Saturday. So they're going to be kind of popping up here and there, but they are officially they're probably getting this is going to be overwhelming for them with all the parties and stuff.
Oh, but amazing product.
Oh, I know. They're so good. I said I almost want to bring them back and do a whole other. Well, I'm going to be doing some other stuff. I'm always looking for an excuse to drink gin and vodka, so why not, right?
Yay.
So do you think of any other little horror stories back when you were catering, or things that you still fondly remember?
I still remember once, it was in the evening, because we had to stay, I was mentioning earlier, we had to stay over, and we had to be on call basically for the special guests. And I remember, I won't mention who it is, but it was someone who probably everyone would know, got a call and said for a snack, she wanted Smarties, but she didn't want a certain color.
No way!
Smarties.
Are you kidding me?
And
that's
so,
like such a stereotypical writer.
And so then it was like, sort of, do we do it or don't we do it? And she was actually a person on TV, so she was well known. And it was just so bizarre. I was like,
do you remember what color?
It was red.
She didn't want red Smarties?
She wanted the red ones out, and then for some reason, but she wanted it all, like, she wanted one colored and the reds on the other side, but she still wanted both of them, and I'm like, okay, what are you doing? Like, but that was, it was
amazing. I know the red gets on your fingers more.
Maybe. I don't know, but that was one of the weirdest things, and then just different.
Yeah, I'm sure there are little different requests and stuff. And I did a little bit of film catering back in the day. I didn't do it for very long because it's not like this classic craft services where somebody needs to be there 24/7 during the filming process.
Right.
So I was brought in. They, usually they'd have like the one big buffet during the day, and they kind of time things. They'd say, well, if you can be here at this time, right? Talent gets to eat first, right? And then there's different people depending on what they're doing at whatever, they can eat in stages. There was also some guys working tech or an off-site that would kind of pack up I always have to go containers. They'd pack up, fill their little container, and they'd take off, right?
Right.
But part of the problem with the film industry and catering to that, just so if any of you are interested and you're thinking you wanted to get into it, you need to be available when they want you, whenever that is.
You have to be like on it the whole time.
Yeah, so one of the things is that I had other clients here in town. The film industry was just starting here in Sudbury at the time. So I had other clients who were regular corporate clients of mine. I'm not bumping them for the day or the week because you may need me earlier. And that was a hard thing for them to understand. There's a couple times where they wanted me to be, they were doing one shoot and it was just outside of town. And I was scheduled for, I would say, 2 o'clock in the afternoon or something to be ready for service at 2. And I was out doing breakfast delivery at another organization, and I got home at around 10:30, and they said they needed me there in an hour now. The shoot got moved up, or the lunch got moved up because the whole film shoot schedule changed. Like, it's like a chain reaction. It went clink, 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 clink. So all of a sudden, the food service had to move faster.
Quicker.
And it's not doing sandwiches here.
No.
This was a whole hot buffet with all these different components, and everything was done ahead of time because I'm always overly organized about that.
Right.
But just to get things up to temperature, packing it up and then transporting it out there,
displaying.
I had everything, and somebody was waiting in my driveway.
No.
Yeah, because they tried calling me, but I was at the client setting up their breakfast order.
Just in case you didn't get our call.
I got the message. So besides calling and leaving a message, I thought, well, when I get back, I'll give them a call and find out what's going on. And I pull in the driveway, and someone was waiting for me, which was a little bit awkward. Yeah. Anyways, those are the days. So, needless to say, I stopped catering for the film industry after that, and it was not because I didn't enjoy the excitement of it. And it was kind of cool because, as much as everyone talks about how the talent can be very demanding, I never had an issue with the talent. Producers, directors. Was a little bit more, they were a little bit more demanding because they're used to being in charge. But the talent themselves were always lovely. And sometimes they even brought my mom because she did help me with a lot of the baking back then. And they just loved the fact that my mom was there telling about the tarts that she made from scratch, right? And they would just get and they would, like, somebody's mom's there cooking for you. It was just a whole different atmosphere than what they weren't used to. So it was kind of a nice welcome thing. So it was fun when it lasted. So I dipped my toe in the water.
There you go.
I did it. I can say I did it. Check that box. So I'm going to include the Cinefest link in the show notes. So if you're listening to this and Cinefest is not over, so you can buy your tickets online. There is an app as well, so I downloaded it on my phone. So you can not only see the film schedule, whatever, so it's available on in any of your apps if you're on iPhone or whatever, or Google or whatever it is. Just download the Cinefest app. You can get all of the ticket information. You'll also probably get little sneak behind things. You can see the trailers, get the movie information. You can kind of plan out your little movie going thing.
And when you're going to eat.
And when you're going to eat, exactly. When you're going to eat, when you're going to drink. And then also, if you keep them up or register, I don't know if they have, I think they have newsletters and stuff through at cinefest.com, then you'll be able to kind of make note of other things that Cinefest actually does. Because other times throughout the year, they have the Laugh Out Loud Festival, their comedy festival, the LOL Sudbury.
Yes.
They have, there's other Cinefest or special screenings and stuff that happen throughout the year. And they will always be kind of updating that kind of thing. So it's a good thing to follow along with if you're really interested in those films.
Absolutely.
So if you're listening or watching this, here's your little schedule. If you're getting this on the day we release this on Saturday. So this Saturday, September 22nd, it's a great gala. Is Shark Water. So this is, I unfortunately am catering on Saturday, so obviously I'm not going to watch that one. But the reception is going to follow. That one's going to be at Tap House. So that's the, so you get to go see the Shark Water movie. That one's sponsored by CTV. I know that. Then you're going to go over to Tap House or whatever for the after party. And then Sunday night's the closing gala film. It's called The Sisters Brothers. That one has Joaquin Phoenix, Jake Gyllenhaal, a couple of other.
Very good.
Yeah, it's supposed to be really good. It's kind of like the Gold Rush days.
Yes.
So I know I'm taking not only my husband, but my son and his girlfriend, and I think my parents are coming, and so we're gonna go and kind of do a big send off or farewell and go up to the closing night at the gala. So we're going to do that, and then of course the closing reception's at Lot 88 Steakhouse.
Great restaurant.
It is, and considering I had sat and I chatted with Pete, the manager,
yes.
Finally met him face to face, which is kind of cool. Yeah. But it was his first time doing a Cinefest gala, so I thought I should fill him in on what to expect. Yeah. So it was a bit of an eye opener, but he's ready and excited. Especially it's the last night, and they're right across the street, and they are a fairly new restaurant to Sudbury, so I'm sure that the moviegoers will be really excited to go.
Absolutely.
So, and I know what his menu is, but I'm not telling.
Ooh.
This is your first Cinefest. You must be excited.
It is. It is my first Cinefest, but we've been dealing with Cinefest for many, many years. Being in Sudbury, they're always here, so we're used to seeing them. So welcome back.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a lot of fun for you. Just I hear you created kind of a custom menu for Sunday night.
We did it a lot of shareable type things, so it's easy to maneuver around. So we're going to have 2 different types of flatbread, a vegetarian style one, and also a loaded chicken club flatbread, which is nice and easy to share. We're also going to have 2 types of crostinis going around, which is a chorizo sausage, which is a lovely one, and then we're also going to have a sweet potato and prosciutto going out.
Oh, that sounds good.
So yeah, it'll be something a little different, something a little edgy, and something that maybe that everybody will like. And then we're also going to do a Bavarian in our signature Lot 88 barbecue sauce. So that's going to be another thing that you guys will be able to have. So,
no, I'm very excited. I'm glad that I got my whole family to buy tickets for Sunday night Cinefest Gala, so I get to come and eat too.
Perfect. There'll be plenty of it, so bring everybody in.
That sounds good. Thanks, Cindy.
Wonderful.
So I said I'll be busy catering on Saturday, but I will be at the gala and reception. So if you happen to be attending it, come over and say hi. I can't guarantee that I can get you a free drink. We'll see what I can do. But especially just letting us know that you're listening to the show and stuff is really appreciative.
Absolutely.
But at least come and say hello, because I'll love that. And I don't just stay for an hour. I do tend to stay for quite a while. I've closed a few places this week already.
That won't change.
It's one of those things, especially when because I know the managers, owners, whatever. It's always funny how I look around. I'm like, wait a minute, am I the only one here now? They're always kicking me out, screaming, whatever. Anyways, thanks so much to Cinefest for convincing me to come back to cater for them again this year. I was hesitant about opening that door again. It was a little awkward, I admit, this week. As much as I had a lot of fun doing the service, it's one of those eye-opener things. The amount of work that goes into getting that stuff ready. So you see the final result and all that behind the scenes thing of all the stuff. So as much as I'm going on and talking about planning the menu and everything else on those videos, and I showed the one, I am going to sort of do a recap and talking about the honest stuff. So again, if you're listening to this early, I do have a catering startup seminar happening on Monday the 24th. And it's partly because I really want to be honest. I don't think that people realize all the work that goes into even just making like sandwich trays to go someplace, and the timing that's involved, and the the proposal process, and the payments, and when and where, how they happen, and there's so many different ins and outs. And I've if there's a roadblock, I found it. If there was a way around something, I found it. I figured out all these little shortcuts, all these little tips and tricks. But I really think there's a huge need for caterers, and doesn't have to be just restaurants doing catering. So if you own a restaurant and you want to get into catering, offer catering services, your menus, your pricing, everything is different when it's a catering thing as opposed to a standard restaurant menu. And it's the process of how you're coming up with the menu items, what things are getting done on site and what stuff's getting done ahead of time.
Really?
Some things don't travel well. Right? So there's all kinds of ins and outs, and I've figured it all out. So now, especially because I'm more focused on helping other people get into the food service business, so this is the opportunity. So if you're interested in it, I will be having one this Monday, September 24th, and I will probably do one more again, maybe in November. So if you missed this one and you're listening to this after the fact, feel free to check out the legacyserviceacademy.ca. But it's a good introduction to kind of wet your whistle to see what is needed if you want to start offering any kind of catering services. Even if it's just, I want to do soups and sandwiches for office, or I want to eventually do a Cinefest gala, right?
Or do desserts at Christmas time.
Or do desserts at Christmas time, exactly.
And how do you plan that out to make it happen the right way?
Yes, and pricing it and stuff like that, so you can actually make some money and then enjoy
what
your
are the legalities behind it?
Oh yeah.
Right? Those kinds of things. So if you want to find out.
Exactly. So there's all kinds of fun stuff. There's a lot of fun in it too, but it is a lot of work. So I'm going to be honest about those kind of things in there so that people are completely have their eyes open before them. So they almost convinced me to start catering again. I did have a lot of people asking me, taking my business card and then walking away saying, oh, because I needed someone for a Christmas party. And so my staff's like, no, she's not catering anymore. So it was kind of a confusing thing explaining to people why I was there.
Right.
They just assumed because I was putting food out there that I must be just catering.
So there's definitely a need.
There is definitely a need. And I had my standard website banner out there, and none of it says catering. There was another banner out there for this podcast. There was another banner out there for the Service Academy, right, with the classes and stuff. Nowhere did it say catering on anything, but they just assumed because I was feeding people that I must feed people all the time. But I did kind of pitch a few ideas of maybe you can do a class, maybe you can bring friends to your class, maybe you can do private booking for a cooking class.
Absolutely.
And I have a whole team of instructors, like Stacy over here, that can come and do custom classes and stuff too.
Absolutely.
So keep that in mind too. So there's always other ways that we could feed you.
Absolutely.
So please rate and subscribe us on Apple Podcasts, whatever podcast player you're listening to us on. You can now follow us on YouTube as well. Yay! So we always had YouTube, but it was not video. We had occasional videos, like Deke's little video to the island.
Now we actually have to look okay.
Yeah, no. So now you're only seeing hair up, but now it's like, oh, I can't just put my hair in a knot. Well, you know what? After a while, there might be some days you're going to see my hair just up in a knot. But now we're kind of like producing it, saying, okay, we got to remember to you actually show the bottle, and we have to. It's a different thing on video. Usually we don't care. So until next week, enjoy the rest of your week. Take some time to enjoy a great movie.
Absolutely.
Spend time with friends and family. And we want to wish Cinefest a happy 30th anniversary.
Happy 30th.
And we look forward to seeing your success for another 30 years or more.
Cheers.
Cheers.